Abdali Grammar School Primary Mathematics Lesson 2 Subtraction with Regrouping Chapter number 2 Lecture number 5 69 Abdali Road Islampura Lahore. Assalamu alaikum my dear students. Today our topic is subtraction. Subtraction with regrouping. Subtraction with regrouping. What is subtraction with regrouping? Subtraction with regrouping is exchanging 1 tens into 10 ones. We exchange 1 tens into 10 ones. Subtraction with regrouping is exchanging 1 tens into 10 ones. We exchange 1 tens into 10 ones. Student, for subtraction with regrouping, we have some steps to follow. We have some steps to follow to solve our question. Our step 1 is write greater number above the other number. Step 1 is write greater number above the other number. We write greater number above the other number. Our step 2 is subtract each column starting with ones. Subtract each column starting with ones. Our step 2 is subtract each column starting with ones. And our last and third step is if the top digit at ones place is smaller, so we borrow 1 from tens, hundreds, thousands. If the top digit at any place is smaller, so we borrow ones from tens, hundred and thousand. Now students, let's start to solve our questions of subtraction by the following steps. Our sum is 4682 subtract 597. We subtract 597 from 4682. Now student, start to solve this sum. First of all student, we draw number disk of our greater number 4682. 2 is at ones place. We draw 2 number disk of ones. Now we draw tens number disk. 8 is right at tens place, so we draw 8 number disk of tens. Similarly, 6 is right at 100 place. 6 is right at 100 place. So student, we draw 6 number disk of 100. We draw 6 number disk of 100. And student, at 1000 place 4 is right, so we draw 4 number disk of 1000. Now student, we start to subtract our numbers starting from the ones. We start to subtract our number starting from ones. 597 subtract from 4682. First of all, we write 7 ones under 2 ones. 2 ones is smaller than 7 ones. 2 ones is smaller than 7 ones. So student, tell me what we do now? What we do now, student, tell me? Yes students, we borrow 1 from tens. What we do? We borrow 1 from tens. 8 is right at tens place, so we cut 8 and borrow 1, and we borrow 1 on the top of 2 ones. We borrow 1 on the top of 2 ones. Student, here 8 number disk of tens are shown. We cut 1 number disk of tens and we borrow 1 tens. we borrow 1 tens. Student, here our number at ones place is 12 now. Our number at ones place is 12 now. So student, what we do? Student, we subtract. What we do now? Student, we subtract 7 from 12. Now student, cut 7 number disc of ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We cut 7 number disc of 7 ones. Now student, let's count remaining number disc of ones. Count it. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we subtract 7 from 12, we get 5. Now students, it's time for tens. In our second number 597, 9 is at tens place. So we write 9 at tens place under 7 tens. Student, we write 9 under 7 tens. Student, what we do now? 7 is smaller than 9 and 7 is right on top of 9. Student, we borrow 1 from 600. We borrow 1 from 600 and we also cut 1 number disc of 100 and we borrow 1 tens and we borrow 1 tens. Here student, when we cut 6 and borrow 1, we write 5 on top of 6. We write 5 on top of 6. Student, what we do now? Now student, when we borrow 1 from 6, we get at tens place number 17. Now we subtract 9 from 17. Now we subtract 9 from 17. Now student, let's cut 9 number disc of tens. Student, we cut 9 number disc of tens. Student, our remaining number disc are 8. Our remaining number disc are 8. So we write 8 at tens place. When we subtract 9 from 17, we get 8. Now student, it's time for 100 place. Student, we write 500 under 5. Now what we do? Student, now less 5 number disc of 100. Now we less them. When we subtract 5 from 5, we less 5 number disc of 100. When we subtract 5 from 5, we get 0. We get 0. Student, now it's time for 1000 place. At 1000 place, 4 is right and in the second number, no digit right under 4. So we write 4 as it is. 4000 as it is. Student, when we subtract 597 from 4682, we get 4085. Now student, it's time for another question. Our another question is subtract 7105 subtract with 2660. We subtract 2660 from 7105. We start to write number from ones place. We start to write numbers from ones place and we write our, after that we write our tens, 100,000. Now student, what we do now? We start to subtract from ones place. We start to subtract from ones place. When we subtract 0 from 5, we get 5. Now student, at tens place, as on top of 6, 0 is right. So what we do? We borrow 1 from 100 place. At 100 place, 1 is right. So we borrow 1 from 100 place. Now student, we subtract 6 from 10. When we subtract 6 from 10, we get 4. Now student, what we do now? We subtract 1000 place. But in 1000 place, on top of 6, 0 is right. So what? Student, we borrow from 1000 place. We borrow from 1000 place. When we borrow from 1000 place, at 100 place, it's 10. Now we subtract 6 from 10. When we subtract 6 from 10s, we get 4. Now in the last student, we subtract 2 from 6. When we subtract 2 from 6, we get 4. Students, our answer is 4445. Thanks for watching.